Okay, we're going to get started. The New Jersey Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this provision of this Act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and Express Times and submitted to the Town Clerk of the Town of Belvidere on January 16, 2022. This meeting will be live streamed at belviderest.org. Flag salute. Roll call.
Mr. Ackerman? Mr. Blum? Ms. Costantino? Dr. Zuppeth?
Here.
Mrs. Duckworth? Kennedy?
Here.
Mrs. Scott?
Here.
Soroka?
Here.
Stefan?
Here.
Ty?
Here.
Weidlich? Mr. Scott?
Okay, so I know that this is our work session. We're going to talk about finance, personnel, and negotiations, but our scholar athletes are here, so we are going to honor them first.
Mr. Bartow has the honors of that tonight.
Thank you, guys. A little mix-up on time, so I apologize. But we want to recognize our scholar athletes. All 5 of these individuals were in the top 10 of their class, as well as varsity athletes in one or multiple sports. So the first one is our NJSIAA scholar athlete, Emma Hickey. She is a 3-sport varsity athlete in cross country, girls basketball, and softball, and she is going to be going to Nova Southeastern University for neuroscience in the fall.
Nice.
Next up, we have our Skyline Conference scholar athletes. The female is Emma Dalrymple. She is also a 3-sport athlete, field hockey, girls basketball, and softball, and she's going to Penn State University, but her major is undecided at this point. The male nominee for Skyline Conference was Matthew Giordano. He is a cross-country varsity starter, and he's going to be going to the University at Albany for actuarial science. Next up, we have our Hunterdon Warren Sussex scholar athletes. First up, the female is Kylie Graham. She is a 2-sport varsity athlete, girls basketball and softball. She's going to Moravian University for health science in the fall. And our male nominee is Ian Oliveira. And he was a varsity starter in 2 sports, boys soccer and swimming. He's going to Penn College of Technology for automotive technology. And last up, I just found this out today, but we nominated a student for the St. Luke's Sports Medicine Perseverance Scholarship. So they'll be receiving that at the Hunterdon Warren Sussex luncheon, and that is Justin Connors. He is a football and basketball player, and he's going to be going to Caldwell University, but his major is undecided, and he will be playing football. So again, I mean, it's an understatement to say that these are great kids. These are awesome. It's awesome to have them represent us as Belvidere High School. And you guys want to get a picture real quick? Yeah? Awesome. Everybody. So, some board members, you guys, and then, you know, put it on Mr. Bartow's social media.
All right, good job, everybody.
congratulations to our winners. I think except for the NJSIA, they've all been honored at their luncheons. So congratulations. Really well done. We're really proud of your accomplishments on both the athletic fields and in our classrooms. We're going to do one more presentation, too. We have another student we want to honor, and since we did the Scholar Athletes, we also have a special student we'd like to introduce, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. McKinney.
So I have the pleasure of congratulating Anders Cundiff. If you would come up, Anders. Anders received the 2022 NJACP Stars Award. We were able to recognize him during school a few weeks ago, and it was wonderful. The ladies came and presented him the award in our cafeteria. They put a nice little banner up for him. So just a little bit, this award recognizes individuals who have overcome obstacles and challenges in their lives, and abilities of Northwest Jersey nominated and presented this award to Anders. We're very proud of his hard work. He's come a long way, and we wish him nothing but the best in the future. Congratulations, Anders.
Congratulations again, Anders. It was a nice ceremony that morning. They talked a lot about what he does for work, working over at Brookfield, and we're really proud of you, so congratulations on your accomplishment. Now we can go to committees.
All right, so we're going to start with finance, because the other two, we're going to do an executive, so we only have to talk about finance right now. Laura is finance chair. You sent out the notes. If you just want to brief everybody.
All right, so the other night, which was Monday, we met with H2M architects and engineers for their presentation on the fields. They provided us with 5 different options. Some worked, some didn't. Some other notes that we have there is basically we're looking at grass turf fields versus synthetic turf, and lots of questions came up out of that, which will be also in the notes. And I believe we are meeting tonight after this to discuss further.
That was the only thing on the agenda for the finance meeting. Any questions on that? There'll be more information to come as soon as we meet tonight to come together, and we had 2 days to wrap our heads around things. There's a lot of questions, but we'll be sure to give you as much information as we can after tonight's meeting. All right, so this is how it's going to work. We're going to go into executive session for personnel and negotiations. So we're going to start with personnel. So everybody's going to go into that one for personnel. Okay. All right, we'll be back. Oh, motion to go into executive session. Second, okay. Motion made to go into executive session for personnel and negotiation committee meetings, updates, and discussion held by the board, which need not remain confidential, will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the closed session in approximately, by the time we're done with both, it's going to be about half an hour. We may have to start our regular board meeting a little bit late, just giving everybody a heads up on that. Okay? All right. Okay, we have to start with motion to adjourn the work session. Motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. We'll start. The New Jersey Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and Express Times and submitted to the town clerk of the town of Belvidere on January 16, 2022. This meeting will be live streamed at www.belvideresd.org. Flag salute. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Ackerman? Mr. Blum? Costantino? Dr. Zuppeth?
Here.
Mrs. Duckworth? Kennedy? Scott?
Here.
Soroka?
Here.
Mrs. Steffen?
Here.
Mr. Ty?
Here.
Weidlich?
Here.
Mr. Scott?
This is time for public participation. I do want to apologize for our late arrival. We had a work session that went a little bit long. Public participation on agenda items. Just come up, state your name. This would be the time.
Nope.
There's a switch.
Hello? All right. Good evening. I'm Gavin Chamberlain, and my fellow representatives are here today on behalf of the students of Belvidere High School who are against the cut of Mr. Hoyt. Mr. Hoyt is a former BHS graduate and former tech assistant before he took his job here. He's been here for 18 months now, and wow, I've gotten very close with him, and I know many students have. He's a social studies teacher and teaches a multitude of other classes: history, economics, behavioral science, sports management, sociology, and personal finance, which is required by the state of New Jersey to graduate. These classes are extremely beneficial to be taught to our students here at the school and are part of other programs that have been cut from the budget in recent memory. Mr. Hoyt himself is the other reason why we are here today. Hoyt is a young and passionate teacher who has been nothing less than devoted to getting the school back on the right track by working hard with other staff members to revive the traditional Cedar spirit that no longer flourishes as it once had. To the members of Board of Education, when making your decision today, please think about why these students are fighting so hard. Regardless of the outcome, I'd like to thank you for your time, students, teachers, and staff, Board of Education. I think this is a very important decision by the large amount of students that we have here today of all grade levels. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good evening, Chris Coyle, High School History Department. I could, of course, add on to what this bevy of fine students in back of me here this evening have come to speak about Mr. Hoyt, but I'm going to speak specifically beyond that to the impact on the department. In my 20 years at Belvidere High School, we've always had 4+ members of the department. That allows us to teach electives that are the very classes that our students will take in 2 years or 1 year when they go off to college. Those are the classes that are going to be their foundation their first 2 years, whether it takes them to community college or a 4-year school beyond here. If we do not have a 4th member of the department, we will only be able to teach feasibly the classes that are required by the state of New Jersey. In those 20 years, we have always taught classes beyond those required by the state of New Jersey. I would just ask that you consider that as you look to add a reduction of force to my department.
Judy Black, special ed teacher. I just would like you to think what it's going to mean to our students in our school if you cut 25% of the social studies department. That'll leave 3 teachers. Right now, they are teaching behavioral science, financial literacy, economics, entertainment and sports management, modern society, and sociology. I'm really not seeing how those classes are going to be taught with just the 3 remaining social studies teachers. Yes, you're cutting a social studies teacher, but that social studies teacher teaches really diverse classes that are really important. We have a lot of kids that enjoy the sociology and the psychology. They're going into fields that these classes are really important for. They want to go there. They want to go to the class. They just went out to the sending districts and talked to Harmony and Hope and White and presented to them that these classes were going to be taught. I really wonder if by cutting this position, we're still going to be able to offer these classes to our students. It's so important that we have these classes, you know, the extra classes, not just the ones that are required. So I would really like you to think about the impact that cutting that social studies department by 1 teacher, it's 25% of the. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Colleen Williams, White Township resident, and a former board member. I'm concerned about the district. I'm concerned about people not wanting to send their children here. I'm concerned that cutting a staff member that is, as Ms. Black just said, 25% of that curriculum might get cut. We're looking to be a better district. When I was on the board, we all tried to include everything. As you know, I've been up here once before, and when I was on the board, saying we need to be a model for what people want when they move to this area. We are not going to increase our enrollment by getting people to move to this area. We're lucky enough that we have 4 school districts sending here. Otherwise, I don't know where the district would be. So I think that you need to think about that. You need to think that we need to be part of the community, but the community has to want to be here. And I don't feel that if you start here, it's going to trickle down to other positions as well. I'm not just saying staff, but I'm saying students are at a loss. And to lose this amount of education for these kids is, it's disturbing. I have a daughter that's going to be a senior here, and I'm not concerned about her. I'm concerned about what's happening. What's going to happen after this? If you start here, where else are you going to cut? What other classes are they not going to have? You know, and it's not about the kids that are sitting here or thinking about maybe siblings or cousins that are going to be in Belvidere. And are we going to have a district? You need to think about that. Are you going to have a district if we cannot get people to move to this area? And one of the things that gets them here is the school. And as I've said before, educational and sports. And right now, it's lacking in everything. And I really think that you need to reflect on that. 10 years ago, we fought for things when my sons were here, and nothing's happened in those 10 years. And it's got to start somewhere, and you can't be cutting things, especially the education and the extracurriculars that the kids can take and just teach what they can get in any other school district. You need to think about that.
Thank you. Any other public participation?
Hi, I'm Graham Mitch. And so last night we started a petition online, and in under 21 hours we got 262 signatures to make room in the budget or just find a way to keep Mr. Hoyt. And I wrote like a little paragraph, and I'd like to read it. So, Mr. Hoyt may have only been a teacher in our school district for 18 months, but in that time he has had the most impact out of any teacher you can think of. Not only does he provide a unique, engaging teaching style, but he is also able to get to know his students very well. I, as well as many of my classmates, consider Mr. Hoyt not only a beloved teacher, but a friend as well. Getting rid of him would not only be a loss of an amazing teacher, but the district would also be losing many classes that make Belvidere stick out. According to utopia.org, studying psychology could help promote many of the social and emotional learning skills that are crucial to students' academic achievement and mental health. These are classes that we cannot afford to lose and are important to enticing oncoming students to go to Belvidere High School. I could provide a near endless list of reasons why he should be kept, and I will. His dad has been in our district for many years. He teaches important classes. He is young and already has many years in the future planned out for his classes. He knows how to talk to students. He's intelligent. He's friendly. He graduated from Belvidere High School. He lives a very convenient distance from the school. He's committed. He is making moves to better our school. He wants what's best for students and the staff. He needs to stay. Thank you.
I'm here speaking on behalf of Emma Hickey. Imagine having a teacher who not only cares about his students' success inside the classroom, but also outside as well. Imagine having a teacher that not only teaches the required material, but goes above and beyond, making the material engaging and meaningful. Imagine having a teacher that respects his students and acts as an advocate for them. Imagine none of that matters. Why? Because the teacher that exemplifies all these characteristics is having his teacher status at Belvidere High School revoked. As one of Mr. Hoyt's students, I am here to express my disappointment in the decision to eliminate Mr. Hoyt's position. Here at Belvidere High School, we like to focus on 4 main words: academics, excellence, community, and tradition. They are even written on the walls of our cafeteria in large, bold letters numerous times. Every day when I walk into the cafeteria and read these 4 words over and over again, one staff person comes to my mind: Mr. Hoyt. He is the true embodiment of what Belvidere High School is supposedly about, and I find it extremely perplexing that this teaching position is the topic of discussion tonight. He is a true educator that has impacted my life in a positive way and is a crucial asset to Belvidere High School. I kindly urge you to reevaluate your decision, as many students will be negatively affected by the loss of Mr. Hoyt. Thank you.
I think we're good. All right. Hello, I'm Devin Pagish. I would just like to recognize the fact that no other teacher has come into a school year two-thirds of the way through the year and picked up off of from where another teacher had previously been and had such an impact in such a short amount of time. Mr. Hoyt is the only teacher that I could honestly say that I look forward to seeing what he is going to provide for the future of Belvidere. Not only Mr. Hoyt himself, but the classes alone. It's hard to want more numbers and to want to revive this school to what it once was if you're going to cut programs that are like genuinely beneficial to students that are growing and learning about psychology and behavioral science and everything else is what makes students interested in other fields for their future. And cutting those programs, it could be limiting what people truly want to find out about themselves and what they want to do as a career. And I just believe that Mr. Hoyt has been in a perfect example of what everything Belvidere should be and everything that Belvidere is going to be in the future. Thank you.
Danny Tui, Belvidere senior, and as a senior, I had a lot of difficulty with scheduling this year. Mr. Poyer can account for that. You're only allowed 1.5 study halls per year. So trying to fill that schedule as someone who met my requirements early was difficult because I was basically had the offer of art class, which I have no interest in, or instrumental lab, which again, no interest in, no offense, but that's not where I'm going in life, and that's not where many people are going in life. Mr. Hoyt is offers the only classes that are actually beneficial with what people are going in life, whether that be psychology, sociology, or economics. As a business major, economics was great. I went to Accepted Students Day, they started talking about it a little bit, about what we're gonna be learning, and I already knew some of the stuff. So it's just a shame to see something like this, where you're cutting these classes, because there's not gonna be much interest. There's no drive now to take classes at Belvidere, and I think it's sad. And it's something that I value, and a lot of the students value, as you can see by the support. And it just brings into question what you guys value for us as students. Thank you.
Any other public participation?
Hello, I'm Autumn Bankhart. I'm a senior at Belvidere. I'd just like to add something about psychology that I think is really important to keep that program specifically, especially now with like a lot of mental health awareness going around. And it's kind of like, this is the only place in school that we learn about things like that other than like one slide or two in health class. So I think that keeping this program, that especially like majoring in psychology is getting so much more popular, I think it would really be beneficial to keep that around. And as for Mr. Hoyt, I feel that he's a teacher that genuinely cares about the students of BHS. And I've had a lot of great teachers here, but he puts forth the effort to make sure that we're engaged in school, and not only in his class, but like activities as well, asking what he thinks that we should improve, and to try to get student involvement up, since as we all know, involvement has really been decreasing. So I just think that it'd really be a shame to let him go, as well as the programs that he teaches. Thank you.
My name is Justin Connors. I'm a senior at Belvidere High School, and other than everything else my fellow classmates have said, I just find it funny that every graduation that we can talk about being such a close-knit community, but we are really trying to get rid of one of our own, and someone who graduated from Belvidere. I just can't believe that. He is such a great teacher, and I could talk to him about anything I wanted. And his classes are beneficial, and they're some of the only classes I really look forward to going in during the day. So I really hope you reconsider your decision. Thank you.
Any other public participation?
Hi, I'm Matthew Giordano, and I just want to talk about something else really related to Mr. Hoyt that I really appreciated during my time in Belvidere. He has some of the most school spirit I've ever seen from this school in such a long time. With COVID and everything that hit, none of us have really been here for that long. The seniors especially, we've been here for 2 years, and school spirit's really hard to come by, and I see that a lot in upcoming freshmen and sophomores too. And I feel like every time I went into Mr. Hoyt's room, he was always doing something, planning something it was a project, something new to help the school, help the students contribute. And I feel like him not being here anymore would really take a toll on a lot of the students' spirit, which is, I know, something very important to a lot of people here. So I hope you really reconsider your decision. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Shelley, we have online public participation.
We do. The first email is from Jenna Mawson. I am a senior at Belvidere High School. I have a message that I would like to have read at public participation this evening. This year has been extremely difficult for me and my peers, and as time goes on, it seems like Belvidere High School is on a constant decline. Earlier this year, Mrs. Schreffler, the most involved and motivating teacher I've had here, was let go. Today, I hear that Mr. Hoyt is also being let go. Mr. Hoyt has been an excellent teacher and mentor. In my time here, I loved courses such as AP Psychology and Woodworking. Loved courses such as AP Psychology and Woodworking have been removed. However, Mr. Hoyt has continued to give students access to sociology, sports management, and behavioral science. Without him, students will lose quality electives, of which are already dwindling. Further, he is also a Belvidere graduate, as was Mrs. Shrepler. I'm beginning to feel as though the Board of Education and administrators care little for loyalty to the teachers of the district and who truly have a passion for teaching. These are the teachers that are going above and beyond for students and their education, and they are the ones being punished due to a lack of budget. With that said, I'm curious why the most involved and loyal teachers are being cut when the budget is being spent on 3D printers and other unnecessary amenities. With this week being Teachers Appreciation Week, I implore you to reconsider your decision to remove him, as students deserve the quality of education he has been providing. Thank you, Jenna Mawson. The next is from Lucy Peters. Hello, my name is Lucy Peters, and I'm a senior here at Belvidere High School. I'm writing to show my disapproval of cutting Mr. Hoyt's position as well as the social studies electives. I've had the pleasure of taking 2 of Mr. Hoyt's classes, personal finance and behavioral science. Unlike most teachers, Mr. Hoyt can relate to his students and their situations. As someone who struggles with anxiety, it was very nice to have a teacher relate their similar experiences and how they got through. He goes above and beyond for his students and this school, and letting him go would be a big mistake. As for the programs being cut, I feel this is a very huge disadvantage to the students. You already cut AP Psychology last year, so now with behavior science being cut as well, there will be no psychology-related classes. Psychology is the foundation for many studies, and in a world where more and more people are experiencing mental health issues, this class is more important than ever. I urge you to reconsider these budget cuts for the sake of the students and their education. Computer is coming. One was read in person, so I'm going to skip that one. And the last one is from Rebecca Kraus. My name is Rebecca, and I'm a senior at Belvidere High School. I have recently learned that our school has been cut from New Jersey State Aid, causing us to lose extremely significant classes at our school, as well as a passionate teacher who's made a large impact on the student body. Students need courses such as behavioral science and sociology after a rise in mental health issues due to the global pandemic of COVID-19, as well as economics and personal finance as we start our transition into the demanding adult world. Similarly, the teacher we'd be losing, Mr. Hoyt, is young, progressive, and has made a connection with students that I've never seen with any other faculty member. His work ethic demonstrates excellence, and the caring nature he has for his students makes them feel seen and accepted. Our society is constantly changing and building itself into something new and unique, which is why the more adaptation we have from our educators, the more kindness and efficiency that can be spread. With that in mind, I would like to ask if there's anything that could be done to prevent class cuts or the loss of our teacher. On behalf of myself and the student population at BHS, we would like to help as much as possible and reach any feasible solution. My hope is not to see growth within our community and education as we move forward.
Thank you for everybody for your public participation. Students, just want to commend you for being so well-spoken and passionate and brave to stand up there. That's a great example for the underclassmen, especially so many of you are juniors and seniors, and I very much appreciate you speaking up. Okay, of course. Sure.
Hey, I just heard some verbiage out there, and I just wanted to make sure that we were clear. No one is trying to get rid of Mr. Hoyt. That's the least thing we're trying to do. No one is trying to punish anyone either. We all like Mr. Hoyt, and we realize how important he is to you guys and to all of us. He's a great teacher. And all of us will do what we can to make it better. We'll do the best we can. That's all we can promise you. Okay? Thanks for coming tonight.
Any correspondence?
I have two letters to the board. The first is from Julianne Kearns to the Belvidere Board of Education, Mr. Karuba and Ms. Spaghelli. My name is Julianne Kearns. I'm an occupational therapist with the Belvidere School District. I have worked in the district since 2018 as a district employee. Prior to that, I contracted as an OT to Belvidere through an agency. I have practiced occupational therapy in other schools and a variety of other settings for 18 years. I have a doctorate in occupational therapy, graduated from Belvidere High School in 1997, and lived locally my entire life. I was excited at the opportunity to work with our sending school districts when the CST clustered in 2019. It afforded me the opportunity to work with my own children's school district, grow with an expanding team of related service professionals, welcome another occupational therapist onto our team as a colleague, and collaborate professionally. I've also been able to supervise occupational therapy graduate students as part of their fieldwork requirement to become a licensed practicing occupational therapist. Additionally, I'm proud to have been a part of many of Belvidere High School students exploring their interest in potentially pursuing a career in occupational therapy. I've supervised shadow hours, written letters of recommendation, and been a resource for Belvidere students to learn more about the field. I truly love what I do. Occupational therapy is more than a career for me. It is a passion, one I am dedicated to. I am grateful for the opportunity to work at my alma mater, close to home and alongside my neighbors and my own children. Recently, I've been conflicted. Awesome additions such as building sensory pathways, creating an entire sensory room in White Township, and servicing really great kids are all dampened by poor morale, inefficient communication, an unmanageable caseload, not enough time to complete the other duties of the job, i.e. meetings, reports, annual reviews, progress, daily individualized documentation, emails, communicate with parents, etc. I urge Belvidere School District to support the child study team by moving towards a workload versus caseload model. Belvidere really does have top quality related service professionals working for the district. It has been a pleasure and an honor working alongside them. They are invaluable and an asset that should be embraced rather than taken advantage of with schedules that are overfull, straining the ability to do our jobs. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the challenge of working with just a few teachers who seek conflict rather than collaboration and resolution. The purpose of occupational therapy as a related service is to support students in their education and educational environment. This requires communication, collaboration, respect, and acceptance of each other's areas of expertise. Lastly, I urge the Belvidere Board of Education to consider the STEP system when hiring or retaining licensed service professionals. Occupational therapists are licensed professionals in the state of New Jersey. We have a minimal graduation requirement of a master's degree, and Belvidere is lucky enough to have 2 OTs with post-professional degrees or working towards it. We must complete and pass a minimum of 24 months of direct fieldwork experience. We are nationally certified by passing an examination from the National Board of Certification of Occupational Therapy. We uphold numerous continuing education requirements as well as annual dues and liability insurance. We are highly specialized, credentialed, skilled, licensed professionals. Yet we are constrained into a teacher's step scale and expect to create and follow a schedule as a teacher would. Our contracts reflect this. For a related service professional, this simply does not work and creates an unnatural workflow. I can assure you, prep for me is non-existent. I am constantly running around looking for multiple students in different areas, seen back to back, desperate for documentation time, report writing time, evaluation time. One evaluation is a minimum of 2 to 3 hours direct evaluation time, followed by another 4 to 6 hours of scoring, interpreting, report writing, and IEP planning. We are responsible to find the time to do this along with our full caseload. Many times we have multiple evaluations, 2, 3, 4, or more at a time. They are hard-pressed within deadlines. In one day, I service as many as 18 students. The next day, another set of 16 to 18, all different, all individuals, all with various goals, needs, and supports. I love each and every one of them, but it simply isn't fair to expect one person to fulfill all the duties it requires to meet the needs of this caseload. I am punished for taking a sick day or caring for my own child that is sick by returning to angry teachers lashing out at me for being out. Furthermore, parents are upset, and have every right to be, for waiting for makeup sessions that rely on other students to be absent. There just isn't any room in the schedule for makeup time. As a licensed professional, only another licensed OT can fill the role. Therefore, a substitute is not adequate. As much as I appreciate the BEA and what they do for our teachers, I remove myself as a member since their actions and support just don't suit my role. The purpose of this explanation is not to complain. I want to shed light on the details of a complex job that is often overlooked and undervalued. In conclusion, I sincerely want to thank the Belvidere School District for hiring me and employing me these past years. Please accept this letter as my official notice of resignation from the Belvidere School District as an occupational therapist at the end of this school year. Deciding to leave was not an easy decision and did not come without heavy consideration. Ultimately, my family helped me come to the realization that I have reached burnout and change is needed for my own health and well-being. Please don't let that happen to your current employees or to the person or persons who fill my shoes. I first considered asking to reduce my hours and move to part-time, but after months of deliberation, I've decided that what is best is to leave altogether. I will sincerely miss the students I work with. They are why I do what I do and the best part of my workday. Please let me know if I can be any assistance to the BSD in the future in any other way. The second letter is from Christopher Coyle. I'm writing to inform you that I am retiring as teacher of art from the Belvidere School District at the end of this school year. I still remember the summer day that I got the telephone message from Yvonne Whitmore, the long-standing Belvidere secretary, call back for an interview at Belvidere High School. In pre-internet days, my only way of locating Belvidere was a National Geographic map of New Jersey. During the interview, the principal, Frank Jurley, gave me a tour of the building, and I was so excited. I am grateful to Frank for giving me the chance to teach high school art. I want to thank the Belvidere Board of Education for the opportunity to do something I love for 28 years at the Belvidere High School. If I can be any assistance in the transition process, please let me know. That's all.
Superintendent's report.
Don't expect a quick one tonight. I got a lot of stuff to say. I do just want to make one comment. I do appreciate the students coming out. I know it's not easy to get up in front of adults and speak your mind and be heard. You guys did an outstanding job, so thank you for coming and sharing your opinions. I just do want to comment that we have no intention of cutting those courses. I don't know if Kyle can fix that feedback. We do plan to run them next year, the courses that were discussed. That being said, I'm going to move on to a couple of things before our budget hearing. Number one is we did invite Miss Golda and...
I had to move mine back. See if you just move it back.
The back?
That worked for me. I don't know.
Okay. That good?
Yeah.
We invited Miss Golda and Miss March here tonight to honor them for really their hard work and dedication, throughout their whole careers, but specifically over the last 2+ years with the COVID. And of course, they come this week and there's a little bit of a resurgence going on. We're starting to make some more phone calls and quarantining students again. They're two outstanding professionals. I think when we go back to March of 2020, we relied, and I mean the administrative team, we relied on Sue and Donna so much for their guidance and their advice just to get through those early days and then really even up to today. I was having a conversation with Ms. Golda this morning just about some of the things that are going on. And from a personal point of view, I'm proud to say that I work with the both of them. They have truly helped me get through this difficult time. I know I could rely on them. I'm positive that neither one of them has taken a day off in 2 years. We may have to go check that, but I don't think there's been a day that either one of them has been absent. They've worked tirelessly over weekends and over holidays. I think of New Year's Eve, and we were sending a lot of texts out about different regulations. So from my point of view, I've appreciated them each and every step of the way, and I really do want to thank you for all that you've done. And I know the board would probably echo that, and please feel free to jump in. But you two are in a district of outstanding educators, and I truly believe we have a lot of outstanding educators. We talked about one specifically today, but we have a lot here. You guys have set a standard over the last 2 years that may be very difficult to follow, and I thank you for that. And with Ms. Golda, with you retiring, while I have confidence in the person who will be replacing you, you will be missed on so many levels, and you haven't even stopped knowing that the end is close. You've given every ounce of your being, and congratulate you on your retirement. and Miss March will probably miss you quite a bit, but we have outstanding people, and you guys are two excellent examples of that. So thank you for all you've done.
I would just like to echo those sentiments on a personal level. Having kids and COVID calls and quarantine calls, you guys were on it immediately, all the time, any hour. If I had to email something, within 5 minutes I get an email like, I don't know when you sleep. So I would just like to give you a standing ovation if anybody else wants to join me. We're very thankful. Mrs. Golda, you will be missed.
Now, we really would have you come up and say a few words, but I know there's not a shot either one of you is going to do that. So on to a couple other things. I just want to, and I think we have quite a few of them here, just announce the top 10 students for the class of 2022. Ms. McKinney just gave me the list this week. So we have, and I don't think Emma Hickey's still here. I think she walked out, but Emma Hickey is in top 10. She's from Harmony. Emma Dalrymple is from Harmony. Julia Vandergate from Harmony. Kylie Graham from Belvidere. Matthew Giordano from White Township. Jenna Molson from White Township. Sarah Horvath from White Township. Owen Gately from Belvidere. Delaney Panzarelli from Harmony. And Kenna Johnson from White Township. That is our top 10 for this year. So congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
I would be remiss if I didn't just say a couple words about Chris Art Coyle. For those of you that have been around the high school a long time, we have to differentiate between Chris Art and Chris History of Coyle. Little known fact about Chris Art Coyle is Chris Art Coyle sat next to Chris History Coyle in my initial interview for principal of Belvidere High School. I actually thought they were kidding me when one said I'm Chris Coyle and the other said I'm also Chris Coyle. But Chris has been an outstanding employee as well, over 25 years as an art teacher. Again, someone who's still working till the last day. Walked by his room the other day still with the clay and working with all that stuff. And Chris has been an inspiration to a lot of our students. He's taken them on outstanding trips. If you ever need any advice on where to go in the city, please talk to Chris because he really knows his way around. He will be greatly missed. When I first took over as superintendent, Chris was the BEA president, and Chris was always kind enough to come in and shut the door when he would come and yell at me about a few things. So another outstanding career. We've seen quite a few people retire. I think COVID's starting to take its toll on people, but thanks for Chris and everything he's done here. I think some of the board members have probably had him as a teacher too while they were in school. So thanks to Chris Coyle. My last two things are, I am in the process of the CSA evaluation. It should be done by the end of the week. I'm just testing on all the hyperlinks so you can see all the documentation. And it is Teacher Appreciation Week. And in the past, and we'll do it again today, I want to thank the teachers for getting us through the last couple years. And it's been a difficult run. It's a tough time to be a teacher, not only worrying about the kids in your class, but worrying about yourself and your families. And I do appreciate all that they've done for our students. Again, each day I have lucky to come into my job and be the superintendent here, and I'm proud to say that, proud to talk about the staff that we have here. So thank you to all the teachers, and we're almost there. It's almost the end of the school year, so thank you for all you do. And now we'll do the budget presentation. I'll make this a little bit quicker. Okay, we'll try to go through this a little quicker since we're already moving along well tonight. So here's our budget presentation. As we usually do, we start out with the student enrollment, current and projected. You can kind of see our now 5-year average. So we're projecting for next year 35 pre-K, I'm thinking 2 classic kindergartners, 30 kindergarten students, 19 for first, 20 for second, 15 third, 22 for fourth and fifth, and then 37 for sixth. 27 and 23, 7th and 8th grade respectively. And we have projected of 250 students at Belvidere Elementary School next year. And you can see the high school, 89 incoming freshmen projected, 70 current, what will be 10th graders, 95 and then 101. So for a number of 355 is our projected enrollment for the high school next year.
Does this work? Can you hear me?
Yep.
The next slide gives an overview of the budget. You'll see the 22-23 full amount for our general fund is $12,221,878. That's a $181,000 increase over the 21-22 budget. So it's a 1.5% increase in our total budget. Our special revenue budget for 22-23 is $924,000, 806. That's up over $370,000. The special revenue fund is made up of our ESSA and IDA grants. It also consists of our preschool grant money that we receive for the state. And as of late in the last couple of years, we received something called ESSER or ARP funding as a result of COVID. So the reason for the big increase for 22-23 is that one, we're adding a third preschool, so we received additional state funding, and the ESSER 3 money, ARP money, is added into the budget, which we have budgeted to spend over the 22-23 school year as well as the 23-24 school year so that we can stretch that out a little bit longer to try to maintain some of our programs. The next slide just gives you all our sources of revenue. You'll see that our biggest source of revenue is due to our sending districts. So that's White, Hope, and Harmony. They pay tuition for all of their high school students to go here. Therefore, they have the members on our Board of Education, and you might have public participation from those districts as well. The local tax levy is our next highest source, and with our third source being state aid. The local tax levy, you'll see further into the presentation, hasn't increased in 3 years, but this year, when we fairly unexpectedly received a state aid cut of $336,000 plus, we were forced to make up that decrease in state aid within only a week or so that we really had to consider it. The governor had put off his address by 2 weeks this year, so he didn't address he didn't do his budget address until the beginning of March, which then made our state aid not get released. I think it was March 10th. So we had a $336,000 cut that we had to deal with. So part of that was we went from planning to have a 0% tax increase again for the town of Belvidere to having to do a 2% increase in our tax levy, which results in a $77,000 increase. This year, our tuition did increase by a net of $216,000 from the sending districts. That's compiled of a few different things, which I detailed here. Basically, we budget year to year how many students the sending districts think they're going to send to Belvidere in the high school, and then their tuition is paid on that number of students. So it's a budget year to budget year for what their projected amount is. And then every 2 years after that, it's trued up to the actual number of students that attended and the actual tuition that we had for that given year. So our tuition decreased because we have 16 less budgeted students going to the high school between 21-22 and 22-23. But that was offset by a $186,000 increase because we changed the tuition rate from $17,400, which is the current year's tuition, to a tuition rate of $18,200 per student for the next budget year. The true up, which is trued up every 2 years to actuals, was increased over last year to this year, $167,000. So when you add all those pieces together, you get the increase in the sending district tuition for this coming 22-23 school year. That also has two more components. One is the resource program. That decreased overall towards Belvidere, but that's because it's prorated over the four districts, our sending districts plus Belvidere, by the usage of each of those districts for our resource room staff. And then we also have a self-contained tuition amount, which is for students that are sent specifically for our multiple disabilities and behavioral disabilities programs, as well as a couple regular programs in the elementary school. And we've had additional students be sent. So the self-contained tuition went up $154,000 for 22-23.
Okay, so with the personnel, obviously, we've talked about the decrease of the one high school history position. We also are decreasing the social media position here in the high school, combining it with other courses. And basically, as we talked about in personnel, with Ms. Gately resigning, Ms. Bader is going to basically take on her position. We are adding a second kindergarten class. Ms. Crisafoli will be moving down to teach pre-K. And as you can see on the agenda tonight, we will be looking to hire the second kindergarten teacher. Ms. Shipley will go from special ed into the other kindergarten position. And then I kind of went backwards, but shared child study team, we are going to hire a behavior specialist and a 60% occupational therapist. That's what we have right now. As you can see, capital projects, you want to?
Sure. This year, we applied for a grant. It's the New Jersey Clean Energy Act grant for school and small businesses. It was a first come, first served grant, and the board acted on it extremely quickly. We put in for $1.2 million in projects to make some upgrades to our HVAC, and we were awarded $888,000 plus for this grant. That left a district share of $311,150, which we are going to take from our capital reserve in order to fund the projects. The 4 HVAC projects that we put in for are a roof exhaust fan, replacing our AON units, replacing different classroom univents, and replacing the auditorium AHU unit. So that was a really big win for our budget.
Okay, and here at Belvidere High School, we do have some curriculum upgrades. We, as you can see, we currently offer 20 dual enrollment courses with Warren County Community College. Again, the students can earn college credit while taking high school courses. Pre-calculus honors was awarded dual enrollment status for this year. Next year, we'll be offering a college statistics course for 11th and 12th graders, and which is an introduction to college statistics. So that was a request that we had from some students and some parents about getting a college statistics course in to try to upgrade within the math department. At the elementary school, we're continuing our 3-year cycle of courses. Right now, we are moving our digital platform from VHS to Ingenuity, and you can see the courses that we're looking to have. And you can see the different elective options for next year: personal wellness, digital literacy, keyboarding and applications, healthy living, digital citizenship, and sociology. And Mr. Carabinus showed the picture of when the students had the ability to work with the astronauts up at the space station. This was just a couple of weeks ago, where they were able to come in through that virtual class. We will also continue to use Linkit next year. It'll be our 3rd year going into Linkit. We're really now starting to realize the value of those benchmark assessments. In fact, we met with members of the Belvidere elementary staff today to just talk about that. And we do believe we're going to start to see some growth within our test scores because of this. And again, wrote down working to eliminate learning gaps through the use of Linkit data and to use that data to drive extended skills times. And then ultimately being able to almost have individualized learning plans for all of our students because we know what their strengths and weaknesses are. Appropriations.
So this chart shows how the different types of expenses break out in our total budget. 34% is spent on our regular education, 12% on special education, just under 5% for extracurricular activities. Our employee benefits eats up 21% of our budget. Operations and maintenance, 13.8%. Administration, 9.5%, and our support services, 4.8%. Just gives you a visual view of how the budget breaks out. And this is the chart that I had referred to earlier, which shows you the tax levy since the 2011-12 school year through today, and the general fund amount. So you can see our budget overall, this is 10 plus years, it really hasn't grown all that much. It was 11.9 million back in 11-12, and now it's 12.2 million. So costs have gone up quite a bit since then, inflation, et cetera, but our budget still remains fairly the same amount that we have to work with. And unfortunately, our number of children has decreased, so then that therefore decreases our amount of state aid, and it decreases the amount we get from sending districts, so we don't get a whole lot more to work with. Any other thoughts?
Well, just some pictures that we took. This was Anders getting his award right before spring break. Scholar athletes that we just honored tonight. And even though it's a little bit of an older picture, pre-COVID, we do love that picture of our students. So thank you for your support. I did want to mention one more thing. I had asked the administration after the last board meeting, and Ms. Kennedy actually inspired me on this one. She said, talk about things we do well. So I asked them to come up with 3 things that we do well. I'm going to save that for next meeting because I would like it to stand alone rather than just within the budget presentation. But one of the common themes was because we're small, we are able to do things at a more localized level and really give almost individualized learning for our students. So we're going to talk about the last meeting, but I did want to just mention that because I thought it was an excellent idea to start, and I think Marianne kind of went along that too. Let's focus on what we do well. So we're going to continue to do that, but at the next meeting, we're really going to talk about that more in depth of what we think we do well. And I'd actually encourage the board to come to that meeting prepared to, same thing, what do you think we do well? So I think it'd be a great discussion. So if you don't have any questions, thank you, and on to the next part of the agenda.
Questions on the budget here? Okay, the contract revision public hearing?
Does anybody have any questions about Shelley's contract from the public? Do that now.
Anything on the BA contract we want to discuss tonight? Okay, then we're going to move towards policy. A motion to approve policy items number 1 through 10, their first readings. Motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
If you didn't see your email today, Mrs. Kennedy had actually asked a couple of specific questions on that. I did answer those. Keep in mind, this is first reading, so you have an opportunity to go back and look at that. But there were a couple of good questions, so I just sent it to everybody.
Their discussion. I did see your questions. Thank you for the response. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Abstentions? Right. Moving to personnel. It's a lengthy personnel agenda. Numbers 11 through 31. Motion to open that section.
So moved.
Table. You're going to table part of 30?
Yeah, I just wanted to open the section, right? Yeah, so it's 11 to 31. There were some addendums you should take a look at. And number 30, we're not tabling the whole thing. We are going to approve fall coaches only right now. We're tabling the winter and spring. Any discussion? So I believe anybody can request to table anything. And it's not that I don't agree with your tabling of number 19, but I just want to make sure we are within time frame.
Technically, we'll be out of compliance. My guess would be that and I won't speak for them, but the association might be willing to work with us if we table that one, since it was a hot topic. So if we want to table it, we'll table it, then I'll reach out to the association tomorrow to further discuss.
I would suggest we don't table it. We take a vote on it. We can always bring it back at another point, but it's a timely manner. It has to be done as a time-sensitive type thing, and I think we're asking for trouble if we don't do it. Or if we do it, I guess is the way I want to say it.
Anybody else want to share anything specific to that? We need to make a call one way or another here. Okay, I guess I'm going to make a call then, and we will table 19. In the process of tabling that, I would like to see if we go through with non-renewal, how those classes will be covered in the meantime. Okay, so for me, that's a reason for tabling alone. Okay. Any other comments on the personnel section? Okay, motion to, we already are open, sorry. I don't even know where I am now.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Blum? Dr. Zuppeth?
Yes.
Mrs. Kennedy? Mrs. Scott?
Yes.
Soroka?
Aye.
Mrs. Steffen?
Yes.
Ty?
Yes.
Weidlich?
Yes, 25, I vote no to John O'Neill.
Mr. Scott?
Okay, moving to the education section. So numbers 32, we have addendums on some workshops and field trips. Make sure you take a look at that. Up to number 34. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Abstentions? All right, moving to business items. Motion to approve the business items 35 to 48.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, I do. I'll try and sit back. I've been very down the road in the middle, trying to see all sides of this budget. And I understand this year's need and want to raise taxes and tuition due to inflation, the loss of state funding, to decrease of students attending. However, it's in my personal opinion that we haven't really taken the cold, hard, necessary look. And I feel like we're just pushing certain things down the road that are going to be an issue next year. It's my concern that, you know, with the CARES Act funding expiring and a potential for continued student decline, I don't have a crystal ball. Hopefully it'll change in some way, but I don't know if we are fully prepared for next year. And my hope moving forward is to find solutions to the ongoing issues that we all see here, and to grow in the areas that we do well. And I know that you had just mentioned that, so that's awesome. Hopefully in this next year and even moving forward that we find that balance and compromise on all of us, all districts, getting what we pay for.
Any other discussion specific to business items?
Just as a heads up, I will be voting no on the budget because I don't agree with the tax increase for Belvidere.
Any other discussion? Okay. Is this an all in favor, or this isn't a roll call, right? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes?
I vote no on 44.
Anybody else? I was just going to say, any abstentions? We have 2 noes and abstention. And making sure, because we are down 3 members today.
6 carries.
Go 6 and, okay. All right, moving to continuing business. I just had a question about the feasibility study. We talk about it every meeting. I know that we had to get a new contact person the last we spoke, so where are we with that?
We're trying to set up a meeting, which yourself and Ms. Stefan will get an email tomorrow. Try to set up a meeting with the cluster with the contact from, I think he's from the DCA, correct? Hopefully sometime next week, later in the week, to get the process rolling. In the meantime, we've started the application itself. It's due June 30th, working with the cluster districts to get that filled out. Shelley actually sent an email earlier this week to let them know what parts they needed to fill out that we couldn't do for them. So we'll get the ball rolling, and we have every intention of having that in by June 30th, by the deadline.
Do we have the contact person now aligned?
What's that?
Do we have the contact person now? Okay.
We do, yep.
Any other continuing business? New business. A late night. Okay.
Way to go.
All right. There's another public participation. Anybody would like to, I don't know if we have any emails or if anybody else wants to say anything else. Seeing none. All right. We need to, motion to go into executive session.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion to go into executive session for a grievance and a HIB. Any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of this executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the closed session in approximately, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Everything I thought I knew, I don't. All right, we're gonna do. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.